It's a holiday. Start with some beer, some brats, even the racing kind. And brewers and bats, big ones. Milwaukee is one of baseball's hottest clubs, and their leader is a former Hurricane who's living up to his MVP status. Ryan Braun and the Brewers are in the house. And on this holiday Monday, we're glad you're spending some time with us. Downtown Miami, Marlins Park. The Brewers arrive. It's a 4-game series, and Milwaukee is hot. Just 3 under on the periphery of the wild card race, but don't count them out just yet, because it's a ball club that can score and score a lot. Harbor One, Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. The Marlins and the Brewers. Turning point for the Marlins season when they were in Milwaukee, had opportunities to win the series up there and did not. Since then, the Brewers have kind of got their stuff together.
Yeah, it was kind of a devastating loss, that one game in Milwaukee, a couple of extra inning games. So here they are back in town. The Brewers are the last team to visit Marlins Park.
Brewers have hit more home runs than anybody in the National League, and that'll be a real challenge for Ricky Nolasco. He may be up to it, though, the way Ricky has pitched lately.
Ricky lately has thrown the ball extremely well. Now, we don't expect Ricky to throw a 5-hit shutout every time he goes to the mound, and that's what he did last time out against the Nationals. No walks, 6 strikeouts, a complete game. But you'd like to see the consistency stay there for the guy who is number 1s on Marlins' list, wins, strikeouts, innings pitched. You'd like to see Ricky carry that consistency over.
One of the best stories for the Milwaukee Brewers this year is a local guy here, Deerfield Beach, Broward Community College, Nova Southeastern, a Shark when he led the nation in strikeouts. Mike Fiers has been terrific.
He's been pounding that pass list early today, about 40 passes we've been told he left. The Marlins saw him in Milwaukee pitch very well. 7 1/3 innings, gave up just 7 hits and only 2 runs. However, the Marlins won that game 4-0. The Brewers couldn't score for Fiers, so you get a chance to see him again here this afternoon.
Yeah, this afternoon. You've got the hot Brewers, the Marlins trying to get back on their feet on a holiday here in Miami. So, ready to go for some baseball, the bashing Brewers. Ryan Braun is not alone. There's some other Brewers that are hot right now. We'll take a look before we start this one. Ready to go. Let's start things out in center field. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine. Gentlemen.
All right, thank you very much, Rich. The Milwaukee Brewers, as you guys have mentioned, have turned it around. Is it too little, too late? We'll see, because they do have some games to go. They're going to have to stay on fire, and we're not talking about their pitcher here, but you got some numbers on this Milwaukee offense that'll really turn your head.
Well, it's an impressive offense, and as is tradition with the Milwaukee Brewers, they got some big bombers there. They call them the Brewer Bombers, and look at these numbers they're putting up. 167 home runs first, RBIs third, slugging percentage second, OPS third. And even some of the other categories you wouldn't think of. They're second in stolen bases. They're first in hit by pitches. They're first in sacrifice hits. So if this Brew crew keep up the offense like this, and their pitching, which has been struggling to close out games. Axelrod, their closer, has only got 23 saves on the year. A lot of blown saves for this pitching staff.
Yeah.
If they could close these games out, it'd be a totally different story in the Central with the Brewers.
I mean, last year that's all they did was close things out. 46 saves in a row for Axford. This year, as you mentioned, he's cut in half. His ERA is around 5. And there was a study that they'd be within a game or two, I think it's 2 games, of the wild card right now if they just finish the games, which the Marlins know was a big problem for them early in the season. So they've got confidence and momentum, though, and that's something some of the other teams right now don't have that are above them.
Well, they got a lot of confidence, and if they can figure out a way to solve the back end of their bullpen problems, you might see the Brewers in the postseason.
But they're going to have to make still a big, big finish here because the games are dwindling down. They'll try to get off to a good start against the Marlins, who have struggled here on the homestand at just 1-4. Brewers, though, this year have been great on the road, but they are 16 under on the road. All right, we've got the first game of 4 here on a Labor Day afternoon at Marlins Park coming up next.
Is brought to you by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today for great deals on Toyota vehicles. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Papa John's, right now at Papa John's, get any large pizza, even specialties, for only $12. Marlins Park, Brewers' first look at it. And the Fish will try to turn things around on what has been a dismal homestand so far. Here come the Brewers. Norichika Aoki leads it off. He's been a nice pickup this year for Milwaukee. Ricky Weeks is at second base. Ryan Braun in left field. Aramis Ramirez is having an outstanding year. Corey Hart is very solid, very productive in the 5 spot. Jonathan Lucroy had the red-hot start, injured, now off the disabled list. Solid season. Carlos Gomez has swiped 30 bags this year. Gene Segura is the top prospect right now for the Brewers, and they've got him at shortstop. And Mike Fiers hits ninth. Here's a look at Ricky Nolasco.
Not an easy lineup to face. It's a power-pack lineup, and you hope Ricky continues on and tries to carry over what he did his last start against Washington, that 5-hit shutout. No walks in that game, and we commented many times in that game against the Nationals, he had everything going for him, the slider, the curve, the changeup, and his fastball. So he needs to do that today against a ball club that Ricky started 6 times before, first time this year, just 1-2 in his career against the Brewers.
Yeah, there are some Brewer hitters that have had some success against him. His ERA, his career ERA against the Brewers, is 9.47. Ozzie Guillen looking out, wondering if the ball club will score some runs. And on the other side, Ron Roenicke in his second season. Of course, last year a Central Division title and a trip to the postseason, a win in the division series over Arizona, and a loss to St. Louis in the NLCS. Pinchapenny's first pitch is down low. Norichika Aoki is up. He'll be followed by Ricky Weeks and Ryan Braun. So Nolasco underway. And his 1-0 pitch is a strike. Aoki, solid numbers. Good base stealer. He swiped 22 bags, 24 doubles. He's been very solid defensively, out in the outfield as well.
Yeah, he's a guy that Ron Roenicke can plug in any of the outfield spots and knows that he's going to get solid defense.
Little tapper wide of first.
You realize Ricky Nolasco, with his win in that last outing against Washington, win number 10 on the year for Ricky. 5 straight years now, Ricky Nolasco has won 10 or more games.
Maybe he can fashion together a Mark Buehrle type streak. Buehrle and CC Sabathia right now the current leaders at 12 consecutive seasons. And there's Aoki opening up the inning with a solid line drive to left field.
We'll check on the defense in this afternoon's game, brought to you by Cleveland Clinic, Florida, with Ruggiano moving over to left, Fernandez in center, Stanton in right. Donnie Murphy with the start. Carlos Lee on the other side of the infield, and Rob Brantley, who had a 1-for-2 game yesterday behind the plate.
Strikeouts are a key for the Brewers, both at the plate and on the mound. They have a pitching staff that strikes out a lot of guys. They have a batting order that also strikes out a lot. It's a high pop. That's a tough play for Brantley, and he makes it. Anytime a catcher has to go that far out, Brantley, remember in his last start here, made 2 lunging catches on pop-ups. That one a little more under control.
That one more under control. I don't want to say easy. They're never easy, but he had plenty of time because of the hang time of this pop fly off the bat of Ricky Weeks. I guess the amazing number, Rich, about this Milwaukee club is the fact that they've played so well at home and not so well on the road.
That is a puzzle because baseball doesn't necessarily lend itself to home court advantage or home field advantage, much like basketball or football. Here's Ryan Braun. Milwaukee is a great place to hit. Ryan Braun is one of the reasons why, but there are other great places to hit in the National League, and you would think the Brewers would find a way to win some games there. 24-40 on the road, 41-28 at home. And of course, Braun having a big season, a follow-up season to his MVP year, and he's pretty much even home and road, except for the jump in home runs and RBIs.
And that's understandable because, as you just pointed out, the Miller Park, a pretty good park to hit in.
The Marlins enjoyed their stay in Miller Park offensively. 2-0 pitch and a check swing for a strike. Now Braun in his career against Ricky is just 3 for 11 and is not homered against him.
The Marlins hit 10 home runs in that 4-game series at Miller Park.
I can remember
to hammer home your point.
Especially the shots that Ruggiano hit a couple of shots to left field that were just crushed. 2-1 pitch. Braun, a swing and a miss. Ryan Braun has a real unique swing for a power hitter. It's kind of almost a chopping swing. He doesn't have the huge follow through. He keeps two hands on the bat a lot.
Yeah, he kind of, when he follows through, kind of shortens it.
And a swing and a miss. Ricky with a great pitch, 91 miles an hour with a lot of movement.
Yeah, has a good 91 mile an hour two-seamer. That ball dived down and in. So a good pitch and a tough out to get in Ryan Braun.
Now Aramis Ramirez. In the absence of Prince Fielder, the Brewers in the offseason were looking for someone that could provide some protection for Braun and some production in the lineup. And they got both when they signed Ramirez to a 3-year, $36 million contract. And he's lived up to it. Leads the National League with 43 doubles. You saw the home runs and the RBIs. High pop. Remember, Stanton had trouble with a couple of these balls yesterday, and he's there, and he makes the catch. Nice first inning for Ricky Nolasco. Marlins get their first swings at Mike Fiers next. Holiday. And things are happening in the Cleveland. Marlins are hoping things are happening in their batting lineup. Gorkys Hernandez leads it off. Donovan Solano's behind him. Jose Reyes at short. Giancarlo Stanton has been scuffling. He's in right. Carlos Lee at first. Justin Ruggiano in left. Rob Brantley, the start, hits 7th. Donnie Murphy 8th. Ricky Nolasco hits 9th.
Now, we've talked to Rich about that ballpark, Miller Park. Mike Fiers, half of his games are there in an ERA at 2.85. That's impressive with his 8-6 record. He's been consistent. He threw a good game against the Marlins in Milwaukee, but was beaten by Mark Burley.
Fiers gets ready to go. Gorkys Hernandez stands in. And Fiers does what he does best. He throws strikes. He does not walk a lot of hitters. He's walked just 23 in 16 starts.
Yeah, he has a great ratio. 102 strikeouts with those 23 walks.
That one fouled back and out of play. He has a unique delivery, and part of that comes from a terrible auto accident that he had in 2008. He was in junior college. He fell asleep at the wheel and had a head-on collision with a guardrail, was ejected from the car, and suffered a lot of damage in his back and his abdominal area. His arm was okay, but it took him about a year before he was fully rehabbed to where he could start throwing again. He ended up at Nova, led the Sharks and led the nation in strikeouts, 145 strikeouts. That accident was up near the turnpike in Orlando.
Watch the glove arm. He lifts that elbow and then throws the glove at you. Really tough to pick up.
Bouncer to third, and Ramirez throws across in time. The guy that really helped him along is Felipe Suarez, who the head coach at, or one of the coaches from Broward Community College. Suarez had pitched himself at Nova Southeastern, and he was the guy that recommended the Nova coaches take a look at Fiers, give him a shot. And coming off that year-long rehab from the auto accident, it was a leap of faith that the Nova coaching staff took, but it really paid off. Solano swings and misses.
You can see 89, but he can get away with it. Hollywood, Florida, born in Hollywood, Florida. High glove arm, that's deceptive. And every once in a while, he'll drop that tight 12-6 curveball. Scouting report brought to you by Coventry Healthcare. We've seen a few of these guys recently with Chris Young, who is not an overpowering guy, but can get away with that high fastball. Jeremy Hefner with the Mets. So guys that have unique deliveries don't necessarily have to throw at 96 to get it by you.
And it really helps that in that unique part of your delivery is that you hide the ball well. And Fiers does. Overhand breaking ball, tapper over the middle, tough play. Segura makes it though, and he gets there. They really like this young shortstop they have, and he's part of this Cleveland Clinic defense.
Yeah, we'll show it to you. And how about the guy at third after you see the outfield, LeBron Gomez and Aoki? Ramos Ramirez made just 6 errors. He's solid there, so very solid on the left side. Ricky Weeks, Corey Hart over on the right side. And Jonathan Lucroy, they're happy to have him back off the disabled list. Yeah, Ramos Ramirez, we've seen him over the years with the Cubs. Always been a very solid third baseman, and just 6 errors this year.
Reyes takes a fastball up, and it's 1-0. Jose Reyes. Kind of been stuck around 280, 281, 282 for the past week. He picked up a base hit yesterday going 1 for 4. For Reyes to get to 300, he's going to have to really go on a tear.
He's going to have to go on another 26-game hitting streak.
Even that might not get it done, because if he's had so many at-bats now, he'll get 2 hits in a ball game, and it'll raise his average 1 or 2 points. 3-0 pitch coming. And Fiers throws a strike. So it's 3-1. Stanton is on deck. That pitch is up. Reyes aboard, and here comes Stanton. And we'll see if the big guy was able to make some adjustments coming off of yesterday's ball game, in which he really struggled, and it's been about a 3 or 4 game skid for Stanton.
Giancarlo's last 14 at bats, he struck out 9 times. I think when he gets in this kind of struggle, what he has to try to do is stay back as long as possible and hit a ball to right field. If he hits a couple balls to right field and hits them well, all of a sudden you'll say, okay, he's out of it.
Reyes bluffs. Stanton swings and misses. Stanton still second to Ryan Braun in home runs, though Braun at 37 is a good distance ahead of Stanton at 29. Fiers doesn't give up many home runs either. He doesn't walk many, and he doesn't give up many long balls. And as you pointed out, Tommy, pitching half your games in Milwaukee, that is impressive stuff. Reyes is running, a swing and a miss. The throw is high, and Reyes is safe. Jose Reyes all of a sudden is back into stealing bases. It's his 33rd of the season.
Yeah, Reyes with 33. Michael Bourne leads the league with 38. So Jose Reyes right in the hunt.
Meanwhile, back at the plate, though, Stanton is behind in the count 0-2.
And has swung through a couple of fastballs.
He went around. So says Paul Emmel, the home plate umpire. And Stanton has struck out 10 times in his last 15 at-bats. High definition. Thanks to the good folks at H.H. Gregg. I think the high heels by the side of the pool is a nice touch, Tommy. Out the Clevelander, the drinks are cold.
Pink high heels, no less.
The pool is in use, and Coventry Healthcare brings you the second inning. As Ricky Nolasco, who had a very nice first inning, goes to work on Corey Hart, Jonathan Lucroy, and Carlos Gomez. Brewers' order has weapons all the way through it, and Hart certainly is one of those. 26 homers, 32 doubles.
Who's really settled in as their first baseman.
Always a pretty good right fielder, and making that transition and filling in for Prince Fielder. Made just a couple errors in right field last year. Nolasco tries to get him to bite on a breaking ball.
One of the things when they signed Aramis Ramirez, many who follow the Brewers said, well, they're going to be right-handed heavy. Certainly without the left-handed bat of Prince Fielder. But with Ramirez, Braun, Weeks, Corey Hart, Lucroy, Gomez, they're all right-handed. It hadn't really hurt their production too much.
Ron Renicky watching. Heads up. Heads up. Ruggiano and Gorkys Hernandez. It's Gorkys who has the ball, and both are fortunate that they're still on their feet.
Well, that's what happens a little bit when you mix up the outfield. Of course, Ruggiano, we've seen the last few games playing center field. Now he has to, in his mind, say, all right, I'm not the captain out there in the outfield. I'm the left fielder. I have to let the center fielder take charge.
So now he's taking orders rather than giving orders.
That's right.
Here's Lucroy. He was one of the real nice stories in the National League in the first month and a half, 2 months of the season. And he takes a strike. I mean, he was just having unbelievable success. Was headed to an All-Star game appearance. And then he fractured a finger on his right hand in what they call a boxer's fracture of the 5th metacarpal. Tommy, did you ever have a boxer's fracture?
No.
Of the right hand?
I never threw a punch hard enough.
That was in late May. And he didn't get back into the lineup until the 25th of July. So he missed a good 2 months. He was hitting .514 with runners in scoring position when he got hurt. Smacks that one, and it gets through Murphy. So Lucroy is aboard. We'll see if that's an error on Donnie Murphy. It is. E5.
It is. It's a tough one because that ball was smoked by Lucroy. But it's one of those, if you catch it, you have all the time in the world to make the play. But got under the glove, through the glove of Donnie Murphy.
Here's Gomez now. And Nolasco misses outside. Gomez, the 26-year-old Dominican, an original Met, was traded to the Twins with Philip Humber in the Johan Santana trade. Smacks it down the left field line, and it's gone off the top of the wall. It's out of here. Boy, did that ball carry. Carlos Gomez didn't realize it. Look at him race around the bases. He's almost caught up to Lucroy. And it's 2-0. A line drive that hits the top of the wall and gets into the Marlins bullpen.
Carlos Gomez plays with a flair. There's no question about that. And he hits this ball, this little hanging slider. He drills it right off the top of the padding above the Marlins bullpen. Now, he's not sure. You like to see a guy busted around first base this way. He actually busted it around second base, even after he knew it was out.
Gene Segura bounces one into center field. And so the error by Murphy is costly. The homer by Gomez gives Milwaukee a 2-0 lead. And now Segura is aboard. That'll bring Fiers to the plate. Chevron ticket Wednesday coming up this Wednesday against the Brewers. Fill up with 8 gallons or more of Chevron with Techron gasoline. Receive a voucher for a 50% discount off tickets in select sections for any remaining Miami Marlins Wednesday home game. Stop in at a participating Chevron station for full details. Fiers is not a very good hitter. His one hit was a bunt single. Segura at first.
The one thing about this Brewers lineup, we've been talking about the power that it has. Well, it extends. I mean, Gomez with that home run, and here's a guy hitting in the 7th spot. Gomez has 16 home runs.
Segura's running on the first pitch, and it's bunted first base side. Nicely done. Nolasco flips to Solano. Fires a successful sacrifice on what was a bunt and run. And that brings up Aoki in the top of the order. Aoki lined one to left. That opened up the first. Nolasco pitched around that and got out of the inning. But here, an error by Donnie Murphy allowed Lucroy on. Gomez hit one out. That one almost hits Aoki, who is 30 Japanese player, 8 years for the Swallows, the Yakult Swallows. He's a guy that has starred in the World Baseball Classic in both 06 and 09, in which Japan has won both. He was an all-tournament selection in 09. Ichiro, of course, on that team. 7-time All-Star. 7 times on the best 9, which is, I guess, the All-Star of All-Stars in Japan.
By the way, Rich, the home run that Ricky allowed coming into this game in his 5 starts in the month of August, he allowed just 1. So he'd been pretty stingy with the long ball.
He's 1-1 on Norichika Aoki. You could see some of the Ichiro type motions in the plate by Aoki. That swing off that front foot, kind of leaning towards first base.
You know what was fun a couple of weeks ago when we were all watching the Little League World Series, when you saw the Japanese kids, a lot of them have this similar approach to an Ichiro. And I also noticed most of them, here they are in Little League, were wearing the little elbow guard.
Runner goes, diving stop, Carlos Lee, cat-like reflexes. El Caballo sucks up a liner, saves a run. The Brewers off to a 2-0 start.
Es presentado en SAP por Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
Little owl action here. And you got to know when the Brewers are in town. You got beer? Hey, they play at Miller Park, Milwaukee, one of the great sports towns in the country. El Caballo is up, and Carlos Lee takes a fastball up and in. Justin Ruggiano, Rob Brantley will follow. Mike Fiers walked Jose Reyes, but then struck out Giancarlo Stanton to end the inning, and Fiers misses up.
Carlos Lee, who in 2005 and for a good part of 2006, a Milwaukee Brewer.
And a strike.
In 05, El Caballo hit 265, 32 home runs, 114 RBIs for Milwaukee.
Fires drops in a breaking ball, and it's 2-2. Full count. Ruggiano will follow. That one fouled back to the screen. Fires at 8-6. His last 2 road starts, though, he's won them both. His ERA in the mid-2s. So he's done his part. And he didn't get to the big leagues until the end of May. He was called up on the 29th of May. Misses in. He's walked 2. And here comes Ruggiano.
We were talking about the home runs the Marlins hit in that series at Miller Park. Ruggiano hit a couple of them, maybe 3. But he was on fire in that 4-game series.
That one down the right field line. And it's out of play. And a couple of those home runs, Tommy, were up and almost into that second level, up in Bernie Brewer territory in left field. But not against Fires. Fires pitched well against Miami, but he ran into a hot Mark Burley, struck out 9 in 7 1/3. He gave up just the 1 run.
Just thinking too, Rich, not too many. Bernie Brewer doesn't allow too many to come up into his neighborhood.
Not since they moved him from his perch at County Stadium. He was a little lower then. Swing and a miss. And he didn't have the modern slide. It was just like a slide out of the beer house.
He had better rent, I think.
Lucroy has to knock it down, and the count's 2-2. Of course, the Brewers parted with Zach Greinke. And as Craig and Jeff talked about on Marlins Live, if they keep playing the way they're playing, they could play themselves into the race. Whether they can actually get there at the end is another question, but they still have plenty of games against the Cardinals, the Braves, the Pirates, other wild card teams. Counts 2-2. That one fouled out of play.
What happens, though, Rich, sometimes that wild card race, if you're 6.5 out and there's only one team ahead of you, it's a little easier. But when you're 6.5 out and you have to come over Pittsburgh, the Dodgers, and the Cardinals or Atlanta, it's a lot tougher.
Swing and a miss. Ruggiano going after the breaking ball. Fires with his second strikeout. And Brantley comes up. And we remind you, this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority. The Miami Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Brantley now, his first time facing Fires.
you can disseminate my incorrect statement that the Brewers are the last team to come here. I totally forgot about Cincinnati. Cincinnati has yet to come to South Florida.
Brantley, little tapper, fires, pounces on it, and goes to first to get the out.
I would have to think, Rich, that's one of the you play these teams twice, but the furthest apart that you would have played two teams. I mean, the Marlins played that one game against St. Louis here. Then they went to Cincinnati. So that was April 5th. They will not play Cincinnati again until September 14th.
And you may be able to forget about Cincinnati being caught in the Central, too, because they have a 9.5 game lead over St. Louis going into play today. Now it's Murphy, and with first base open, fires, goes after him with a fastball for a strike. It's 0-1. Ricky Velasco, the pitcher, is on deck. You got Carlos Lee, the runner, at second base. Outfield very deep. Always interesting to watch a team their first time in, where they play the outfield in this ballpark. And we'll keep our eye throughout this 4-game series on the Brewers infield. Ron Roenicke is one of the more aggressive defensive managers along the lines of shifting his infield and his outfield. He, of course, spent a long time on Mike Scioscia's staff. He and Joe Madden are very similar in their thinking. Very much outside the box type thinkers. And Roenicke, a lot of success last year. Murphy swings and misses, and it's 2-2. Lee and Weeks have been carrying on a conversation for some time.
Carlos Lee reassuring Ricky Weeks he's not going anywhere.
Breaking ball, almost enough. Fires with the count now at 3-2. Kind of a classic curveball, isn't it?
That big over the top. You hear the term 12-6 curveball.
He misses down low. Boy, Mike Fiers had walked just 23 coming into this ball game, and he's walked 3 already, and he's not through 2 innings. Velasco now.
Heck, his career high is 4. So he's just 1 away from that.
On this holiday Monday, lots of baseball around the country. Marlins and Brewers opening a 4-game series here. Velasco takes outside. It's 1-0. Ricky can run into one. He's done some damage this year.
Yeah, Ricky had a base hit in his last outing against the Nationals.
Driven in 5 runs this year. A lot of games are just getting underway. Nationals are at home against the Cubs, the top team in the East. They have a 1-0 lead. Jeff Samardzija on the mound for the Cubs. That game is in Washington, D.C., Ross Detweiler going for the Nationals. Phillies are in Cincinnati. Nolasco fouls it back. It's 2-2.
So all the East teams playing the Central. The Mets are in St. Louis.
Of course, next year the little twist is going to be sometimes when you go on the road to play a team in the Central in the National League, you're going to play a team in the Central in the American League. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Fires, strikes out in Nolasco. 3 strikeouts, 3 walks for the Deerfield Beach native. Joey Harrington, get you ready for kickoff with the Ford Fox College Saturday pregame show. And then number 17, Nebraska, is in Los Angeles in the Rose Bowl to take on UCLA. Coverage of Fox College football begins Saturday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Here in Miami, Milwaukee has a 2-0 lead. That thanks to the 2-run homer by Carlos Gomez. Ricky Nolasco gets Ricky Weeks, Ryan Braun, Aramis Ramirez. On this holiday Monday, this is a 4-game series. And then Miami hits the road for stops in Washington and Philly.
I think one of the little interesting things about this series is that we have the same umpiring crew that we had in the Mets series. And because of the holiday weekend, Gary Darling's crew stayed over for this game, and then we'll see another crew tomorrow night.
With all the day games, it's tough to get crews. It's tougher to get umpires across the country than it is baseball teams, because the teams fly on charter flights and they can take off whenever they'd like right after the game, whereas umpires are on commercial flights and they are kind of boxed in by schedules
and weather.
Yes. Anytime a player, a broadcaster, a trainer, anybody that travels with the major league team thinks they have it tough, thinks that their life is not the best because of all the travel, all they have to do is ask an umpire, because they hopscotch around the country, and unless they live in a major league city, there are no home games for those umpires. 1-2 to Weeks. And a check swing and a pitch down low from Nolasco. And if you think that's bad, you should try traveling as a minor league umpire. Weeks bangs a fastball off of Nolasco. Lee picks it up and then tags Weeks out. Let's hope Ricky's all right, because that thing came up with some steam on it. Nice play by Carlos Lee to pick up the ball and get to the bag. Mike Kozak, one of the trainers, is out there. Nolasco.
A little bit of a smile. I'm hoping that's a good sign. Mike Kozak out there to check on Ricky. But this ball was drilled.
Ooh. Right.
The backside of the calf, maybe, on the calf. Great reactions. We've seen Carlos Lee today already make 2 terrific plays at first base. Picks it up, hustles to it, and then puts the tag on Weeks.
Ozzie Guillen's out there as well. The one thing you have to be careful about, especially anytime a pitcher is hit or hurt in a leg, is that if it hurts, the pitcher will adjust his delivery, which could cause complications with an arm or a shoulder, an elbow, or something along those lines.
Which over the years has happened to different pitchers. I think right now Ricky's just trying to calm it down and get the initial feel out of there. El Caballo still thinking about the play made. Saying to Ricky, you get an assist on that.
Well, Nolasco wants to make sure that he is ready to go. This isn't one of those situations where if it's really hurting, you just say, hey, yeah, I'm all right, let's throw it, because you got Ryan Braun coming to the plate. So you want to make sure that it's as good as it's going to get.
It's the type of situation, too, that when Ricky goes in between innings, he may have to ice it. Wherever that hit him, if in fact it was on the backside of that calf, you don't want that thing to swell up as the game goes on. So it might be the type of thing between innings. We'll keep an eye on it, that he may have to put some ice on it.
Here is Braun now. And Ryan Braun swings and misses. Braun, the statistical leader in so many of the important categories in the National League. Home runs, total bases, RBIs, slugging percentage. .607 he's slugging right now. His on-base percentage is at .388.
I would think, Rich, too, that this has to be kind of fun for Ryan Braun. I'm sure when he was playing for the University of Miami, he came to a football game or two at the Orange Bowl. Boy, he's not picking up Ricky at all.
Has struck him out twice, and both times it's been on that breaking ball. And here comes Aramis Ramirez.
Yeah, you see a hitter of his caliber look this bad. That tells you he's not picking him up. Ricky's making good pitches. Remember, he struck him out on a good two-seamer down and in.
You're right.
The first time. This time got him to chase the breaking ball.
Now Ramirez, he flied out to right his first time up. And he bangs that one off of his foot. Aramis Ramirez, a longtime Cub, 9 years with the Cubs. Twice an All-Star. He and Ryan Braun have combined to drive in 184 runs, tops among teammates in the National League. Sends that one into left field, a base hit. Ruggiano picks it up. And here comes Corey Hart.
That's a pretty good trio when you have a trio of Braun, Ramirez, and Hart. 3 productive hitters. 2 of them will get 100 RBIs. Outside chance for Corey Hart. He's at 72. But Braun and Ramirez will probably reach that level.
Nolasco gets a strike to open the at-bat. Hart flied to center in the second. 13 of 17. That's what the Brewers have won to draw themselves within 3 games of 500 at 65 and 68. A team that dealt away an ace in Zach Greinke. Playing hard right now. The question obviously is there enough time? We told you on their schedule they do have some of those teams above them in the wild card that they have yet to play. Glasgow.
I think Ricky thought he had strike 3. And I think he did. That was right down the middle.
Wow. Runner goes, pitch in the dirt, and Aramis Ramirez steals second base. Here's the previous pitch. Brantley was set up, had to reach a little bit, but it's still right down the middle.
Yeah, I mean, he's set up inside, but yeah, you're right. That ball was right down, split the middle of the plate. And then Ricky, I think, lost a little concentration, lost sight of Ramirez, and didn't give him much of a look at first base.
Off the end of the bat, Ruggiano looks up and makes the catch. Brewers leave a runner. Marlins trying to figure out Mike Fiers right now. 2-0 Milwaukee.
Add pressure or not, or whatever it is, I think I'll be fine. But you know, I'm just going to enjoy it, and I know my family is going to be there, and just to enjoy them and know that, you know, they're behind me, and it's just going to be their first time, kind of all my family and friends, to be at a game together. So I know it's going to be real fun for them, and you know, I'm just glad that I, you know, made it this far, and, you know, I'm up at this level of baseball, and to have them there and watch me, it's going to be fun.
Hey, thank you very much. You see the bunt attempt here by Gorkys Hernandez, and they're not going to get him, so it's a base hit. The Marlins get their first hit off the local guy you just heard from, Mike Fiers. I'm with Linda Fiers and Bruce, their parents, dad, mom's here as well. And first of all, for you, to see him here at home, how neat is that?
It's very exciting to see my little boy at home. We're very proud of him. And to see him do what he has always wanted to do. It's a pleasure to be here.
You got a big group here. Tell me who's here.
Oh, we got a big group here. We have family in from Lake Placid, his cousin Daryl and his family. We have
We got great signs.
Friends and neighbors that have been with him for a long time.
Gorky Hernandez going to stay at second. We have signs all over the place here. Bruce, Mike said, Dad here, neat thing for you to see him here. I know you wish he was a Marlin, but he's having a fine start to his Brewers career, huh?
Yes, he is. I'm happy to see what he's doing. I'm really amazed at what he's doing. I knew he had the ability to be a major league pitcher, but I didn't know he would be this good.
And to see him here in South Florida, how neat is that for you?
Well, this is my first time to see him live. It's awesome. Last time was Double-A.
Oh, you haven't seen him in the big leagues yet?
No, not live, no.
Good to see him here. I know a lot of his teammates are here from lower levels, either in the minors or in high school ball, huh?
Yeah, he's got a lot of fans. I mean, even from softball accolade, he would come out on this from, like you said.
I want to ask you this, too. The spelling is F-I-E-R-E-S. People must have said Fears all the time.
That's correct, yeah.
But the name is?
Fires, that's right.
Have you been correcting people your whole life?
All my whole life, his whole life, yes.
All right, Bruce, thanks a lot. I know your group's having fun here. A couple of Marlin hats sprinkled in as well. He's got about 70 to 80 people here, guys, and a lot of friends and family. Back to you.
Thanks, Craig. And as we told you, it's an incredible story. Not only that he's a local kid who climbed every level from high school to junior college to college ball here in South Florida, but having to overcome that near fatal auto accident in 2008, which knocked him out for a whole year when he was in college. That one to right field. Aoki is there. Hernandez tags, and Gorkys is on his way to third base. Well, Donovan Solano flies out. You can see during that sequence the speed of Gorkys Hernandez. First the bunt hit, then drawing a throw, and just going from second to third. He can absolutely fly.
Yeah, which actually on that fly ball, a lot of runners aren't able to go from second to third. But speed has certainly been a big part of this inning by Gorkys Hernandez, and it gives the Marlins a chance right here with the runner at third, less than 2 out, to pick up a run.
Well, Solano got him over. Let's see if Reyes can get him in. Reyes walked back in the first. To center, and that'll do the trick. Gomez makes the catch. Hernandez is on his way in. And it's 2-1. And here comes Stanton with 2 outs. No better way to stay connected with the Marlins than through the team's official social media channels. You can join the official Marlins conversation, be the first to receive breaking news, special offers, free prizes, and more. Like the Marlins at Facebook.com/Marlins. Follow them at Twitter.com/Marlins. Giancarlo Stanton, mired in a slump, which has gone on for about 4 ball games now. 15 at bats, 10 strikeouts. And I think the odd part, Tommy, is that he has swung and missed a lot of fastballs.
Yeah, and even that pitch there, a good fastball to hit, he fouled it straight back. And when you're in one of these slumps, we talk about it all the time. Don't you know, just like that, it's 1-2.
Fire stayed with the high fastball.
That's the way the Mets pitched him the entire series.
Breaking ball, and that one clipped the mask of Jonathan Lucroy. A run across, a 2-1 ball game. Milwaukee on top, Miami here in the bottom of the third. Their slugger trying to get his mojo back. The 2-2. He lines that one foul. He's had some better swings on these fastballs. I mean, the one that he fouled back, when you foul a good fastball straight back, you're pretty much on it. You just miss it a little bit. That one he drove to right. The 2-2. Breaking ball, and he just got a piece.
It'll happen, and it's certainly one of the things that Giancarlo, as he learns, matures, and adjusts to this game, he'll have fewer periods and they won't be as long.
2-2.
So that's the whole key, is to try to minimize the bad spells.
Fastball. Now this is the type of a bat that can help you out of a slump.
Absolutely. The next pitch that Fiers throws to Stanton will be number 10 in this at bat. It's okay. That was a borderline pitch. Might have been a ball, but certainly he didn't want to take the chance.
So this will be pitch number 11. Got him. 11 pitch AB ends with a strikeout. Miami gets a run and is on the board, but trails this game. The Brewers on top in the first of a 4-game set. It's 2-1. Look at how busy they are there, Tommy. What'd you order?
Can't really give it away. You have to try to use your imagination.
AT&T trivia question. We flipped the phone.
That is on the drink, of course.
Who was the Brewers' starting left fielder before Ryan Braun took over on opening day in 2008? Remember, Braun was an infielder, and things didn't go well. They moved him out to left field.
Played shortstop at the U.
Brewers left fielder in 2007.
I think I remember this guy. So yeah, he was a great. By the way, he was a great look-alike. If I'm thinking of the right guy.
Here's the 1-0
to a local legend.
Kevin Mensch.
No, it wasn't Streck. It wasn't Kevin Mensch.
A great look-alike to a local legend.
To a local
Milwaukee
area.
All right, so now I think you're going Packers on me.
Yeah.
Brett Favre?
Yeah.
Brett Favre look-alike. You got the bell right out of the chute.
Bell.
Reyes is back, and Gorkys Hernandez races in, makes the catch. Jonathan Lucroy is out number 1 of this 4th inning.
So I'll leave it at that, and maybe some of our viewers can come up with the name.
Carlos Gomez now, and Gomez the difference in the ball game. His 16th home run of the season, just barely got out. A fence scraper.
I do believe, though, Rich, when this left fielder, this guy retired, he retired for good.
Here it is, the Coors Light Cold Hard Blast.
Little slider, flat. Sometimes that slider, if it's flat but it gets away from a hitter, he can't put that kind of swing on it, but it stayed middle in.
And unfortunately, during the Coors Light Cold Hard Blast, we just missed a terrific play by Jose Reyes, and Carlos Lee is having a sterling afternoon at first base. But we'll look at it again. Here it is.
In the hole, runner has speed. You have to know that. And then a beautiful pick by Carlos Lee, who the Brewers remember as a left fielder. Carlos Lee's had 3 really nice plays today.
Here is Segura. And he swings and misses.
You were talking about the Brewers when they made that trade and traded away Zach Greinke to the Angels. Gene Segura was the, I guess you could call the centerpiece of that deal. He's still trying to get his feet wet as far as hitting at the big league level, but from what we've been told, no question, he can pick it at short.
A couple other minor leaguers came from the Angels to the Brewers. That trade at the end of July of this year. Segura swings and misses. Brantley holds on. Nolasco finishes a 9-pitch inning just like that. Order up. Brought to you by Nissan. Get to Nissan for the biggest savings under the sun at Nissan's Summer Saving Days. Visit ChooseNissan.com. And by the Florida Department of Transportation. Drive sober or get pulled over. Mike Fiers, the Deerfield Beach High School Broward Community College, Nova Southeastern University, all of that. And he was only a 22nd round draft pick, so he had to prove it to the Brewers. And he climbed up the organizational ladder, finds himself in the big leagues for the first time this year, and he's had quite a start. Gomez is there, and he makes the catch.
He's done a nice job, too. 12 of his 16 starts, he's gone 6 innings or more and given up 3 earned runs or less.
Brewers left fielder before Ryan Braun, a Brett Favre lookalike.
Left-handed hitter, had some power.
Jeff Jenkins.
34 home runs back in 2000. You know, he'd average about 25 home runs a year, 90 RBIs. Toward the end of his year, or of his career, had some injuries.
Just like Favre.
Just like Favre. But as I said, when Jeff Jenkins retired, he retired.
Ruggiano, then Brantley against Fires. 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. It was a throwing error by Mike Fires in the 3rd that helped Miami to that run. Gorkys Hernandez had a bunt single. Fires tried to pick him off, and the throw got by Corey Hart. Hernandez ended up at second. Solano moved him to third with a deep fly ball to right, and Reyes scored him on a deep fly ball to center. That's how Miami has its lone run. Ruggiano strokes one up the middle. That's a base hit. Just the 2nd hit for Miami. Runs have been really hard to come by for the Fish, and that's no secret. They scored just 1 run yesterday against Chris Young and a variety of Met relievers. They did score 3 runs on Saturday, but obviously that wasn't enough in a 5-3 loss. Jeremy Hefner and that same assortment of Met relievers. R.A. Dickey, a 5-hit shutout on Friday night. Last time the Marlins had a big offensive night, you got to go back to a week ago on a Tuesday night when they beat the Nationals 9-0. That just happened to be the last time Ricky Nolasco started a ball game.
You know, that shutout too, at the hands of R.A. Dickey. 15th time this year the Marlins have been shut out, which establishes a franchise record for a season. By the way, Ruggiano 10 for his last 21 with that base hit.
0-1 pitch. Brantley muscles it into left center field for a hit. Ruggiano turns second. Gomez is a very good center fielder, and you can see an acrobatic throw. Ruggiano would have been out at third, so he holds second. And here comes Donnie Murphy.
When you see this type of swing from Rob Brantley, you get excited because that's a nice swing. He stayed back, drove the ball into the gap a little bit in left center, and that's his approach.
One of the fun things to do when a kid like Brantley gets to the big leagues for the first couple of weeks is ask scouts that watch a series or get a chance to see him hit or play or whatever rookie you want to know about for a week or so. And the guys that we've talked to have really been impressed with his swings at the plate. They like him at the plate.
Talking to a well-respected scout the other day, and we got into conversation about the young sensation in Anaheim, Mike Trout, compared to Bryce Harper. And in this scout's opinion, there was no contest. Mike Trout is by far above and ahead.
He's a couple years older, but
only one, I think. I think he's only 20. Harper's 19. But those two careers will really be fun to follow over the next 5 to 7 years.
Fiers trying to get Ruggiano out at second. Brantley's at first. And Murphy's at the plate. Donnie Murphy walked back in the second. You do have the pitcher on deck in Nolasco. Fiers misses up and in. Fiers throwing a lot of pitches here. He's thrown 68. And he's got just one out here in the fourth.
Ricky doesn't seem to be showing any effects from that ball that caught him on the calf.
Two and one.
Yeah, each pitcher has given up an unearned run. The only run the Marlins got off Fiers was unearned because of his throwing error.
Here's the 2-1. And it's in. Remember, Ricky Nolasco took a ball off the back of his leg. A little ice and a little tape. The compression probably to keep the swelling down.
I had to make sure we sent the game ready down to the dugout.
That's right. That's the apparatus that you've been wearing. You know, neither of us were real sure about Trout's age. You thought 20, I thought 21. He just turned 21, so we were kind of in the middle.
In August, yeah, he did. And leading the American League in hitting and stolen bases.
3-1. And it's fouled out of play.
This is a big at bat, especially given the fact that Ricky Nolasco is on deck.
Did you know Mike Trout's nickname? I had not heard this before. He's out of Millville, New Jersey.
Out of South Jersey. Yeah.
The Millville Meteor.
I don't know if that one's caught on in Southern California, though.
It does. It sounds like the old Mickey Mantle nickname. The 3-2. Murphy, a liner into right. It's going to fall for a hit. Ruggiano around third. Here he comes. Aoki's throw. He is safe. Just got by the tag. Brantley hustles to third. Murphy at first.
Boy, it's a good at bat. A nice swing by Donnie Murphy. And think squeeze on this first pitch to Ricky Nolasco. I'm just throwing it out there. Good base running, too, by Brantley to go first to third on Murphy's base hit. Ruggiano sent home all the way and just gets away from the tag of Lucroy.
And as we've seen this year, it doesn't have to be a suicide squeeze on first and third. Marlins have used the first and third bunt play with a safety squeeze with a lot of success. And Nolasco squares. See if Ramirez charges in at third. And he takes a strike. Now the Brewers of any team would know how to defend this because their manager, Ron Roenicke, likes this play as well. Joe Madden does it a lot. Roenicke does it a lot. And the Marlins have had success with it this year as well. You've got Brantley, the rookie, the runner at third. Ramirez, the veteran third baseman. And that's the key. As he creeps in, Brantley can shadow him. There's the bunt. Runner comes home, and he scores. Fiers tried to flip it with a glove. Excellent work by the rookie Brantley from third base.
Good job by Ricky. Great job by Brantley, who also had to elude the bat. When Ricky dropped down the bunt, the bat was there right in the way of Brantley. He follows the third baseman. Perfect. Sees the bunt down. Fiers tries to glove it and flip it at the same time. Watch where the bat is now. It's kind of in the way. He tries to flip it. Brantley gets out of the way of the bat and then touch the plate with his hand. But great job by Ricky to get the bunt down. Here comes Brantley, and then he gets out of the way of the bat and touches the plate with his left hand. Good job all around.
Ricky's going to get a bunt base hit off that. So Miami has taken a 3-2 lead. You
know how I love the 2-for-1? That was a 3-for-1.
Yes, it was.
He got the hit, he got the run in, and he moved Murphy over to second.
And now Gorkys Hernandez. And he runs up to push a bunt. One more look at it. Great view.
Yeah, there's the bat. Now here comes Brantley. He goes around the bat and then touches the plate with his hand.
I like the thinking of Gorkys Hernandez here, because Corey Hart, the first baseman, was playing behind the runner. Now he creeps in on the grass at first. So the corners are in.
All of a sudden, the Marlins in this inning have put together 4 consecutive hits.
Gorkys fouls it off, out of play.
I don't think the Marlins can play big ball against the Milwaukee Brewers with the lineup they have. But right now, Ozzy's got his team little balling them to death.
Hernandez has a bunt hit and has bounced out. Murphy's the runner at second. Velasco at first, and fires. A little unnerved right now, misses in, and he's fallen behind 3-1. There's Solano. He waits. It's up and in, and the bags are loaded. And here comes Solano with just 1 out.
So that ties a career high 4 walks issued today by Mike Fiers.
Solano's 0 for 2. Middle infield's back for a double play. Big breaking ball. Rick Kranitz, former Marlin pitching coach, good guy, very good pitching coach. And he just got off the phone. Someone's getting up.
Yeah, he can see his right-hander struggling out there.
We told you about the pitch count. Fiers now at 80 pitches. Solano fouls it out of play.
Well, you could look at it this way. If he pitched for the Rockies, he wouldn't be in the game right now.
We'd have pitcher B out there. Murphy had the 3rd consecutive hit of the inning. Velasco on that 1st and 3rd set down the bunt. That ended up as a hit. And then Gorkys Hernandez walked. Mike Fiers is 1-1 on Donovan Solano. One and 2. Aha, Miami legend, Ivan Hernandez. I love you, Miami.
You know what? Because of the early game, we didn't get a chance to talk to as many players as we usually do, but I can't wait to talk to Levon and get his impressions coming back to Miami, but coming to this beautiful facility.
Solano in the left field. That's a base hit. Murphy scores. Velasco will stop at 3rd. Miami has another hit, another run, and it's 4-2. Been a while since we've seen a little low vista around here.
All of a sudden, the bite and the sharpness on that curveball isn't quite the way Fiers wants it. And on that curveball, Donovan Solano stayed back and had a really nice swing.
Reyes breaks his bat, dumps it into center field. That's going to score a couple. Nolasco with Hernandez right behind him.
We've seen speed on display in this inning. Off the end of the bat, Reyes with that little looping liner. Gorkys Hernandez, the runner at second. You love to watch a runner when he doesn't hesitate because he knows the shortstop Segura's not going to catch this ball. He knows that Gomez, the center fielder, is not going to catch this ball. So he got a great jump from second and scored behind Ricky. Right behind him.
And Ron Roenicke, the manager of the Brewers, is on his way out to the mound. And for Mike Fiers, with all the friends and family here, certainly a disappointing way to exit. He's had a terrific year, though. 8-6 and an ERA of under 3, and you can see the friends and family giving him an ovation as he leaves. 6-2 Marlins. Here comes Livan. Out, and Livan Hernandez is in.
Man, he's been durable over his long career. He's pitched some key clutch games, not only the Marlins, for the Giants. He has been here when the Braves were in town, when he was with Atlanta earlier in the year. But did not pitch, I don't think, in that series. There are the numbers. Look at Stanton against Livan.
3 hits, all homers. And a swing and a miss. And some of that damage, I'm sure, for Stanton. When Livan Hernandez was a Washington National, he was a National from the end of 2009 through 2011. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of Livan Hernandez.
Right now, if you're Livan Hernandez, and this has been his MO his entire career, he's not going to give anything to Stanton, even on the outside corner. He's going to stay off the plate if Stanton continues to swing that way.
Yep, he is the tantalizing right-hander, and you hear us often say, why don't they call right-handers crafty? Well, this guy is crafty.
He's the Jamie Moyer of right-handers.
Yes, he is. Though he's a bit younger.
Makes his home here in Miami.
He is 37, is Livan Hernandez. And he has been with a lot of teams. Look at the Fox tracks showing exactly what you talked about.
Yeah, he's going to stay there.
And for Stanton, who is trying to pull himself out of a real struggle.
This is not the kind of guy that's going to help Giancarlo get out of this.
Despite the numbers that we saw.
Yeah.
Look how much he missed that pitch by.
Well, the fastball was 85, and that was 63 miles an hour.
11 strikeouts in his last 16 at bats. "17 years in the big leagues for Livan Hernandez. After starting his career with the Marlins, of course, the MVP, NLCS World Series in '97. Then it was on to the Giants. 4 years with the Giants. Expos and Nationals. Then he bounced around. Stanton, smash up the middle. Weeks drops it, flips, and gets just the out at second. And I know it's a fielder's choice, but to Stanton, that has to feel like a moral victory.
I was surprised he actually got the fastball. I thought Livan was going to go back to that breaking ball, that tantalizing breaking ball just on the outer part of the plate. It was a sure double play until Weeks boxed it. And then the Brewers could only get one, and the inning continues. This inning started with Carlos Lee hitting a fly ball to center field. The last time, Rich, the Marlins batted around was in the fourth inning in Arizona. They scored 9 runs, had a 9-run fourth.
Not that either has it in their disposition, but if Hernandez were to hit Lee and he were to charge the mound, here's the...
Oh, don't go there.
Here's the strike on the outside corner.
That would be a heavyweight battle.
That would be. When worlds collide.
But you're right about the disposition.
Yes. Solano and Stanton on the corners. There's the slow breaking ball. Now, Lee is the type of guy, in contrast to a struggling Stanton, Lee's the type of guy that is fascinating to watch against Livan Hernandez, because Carlos Lee is as patient a hitter. He doesn't strike out a lot. He doesn't go out of the zone a lot. You almost have to get Livan Hernandez to 3 balls before you get something to hit.
If you're a young hitter, you almost want to tell the young hitter, go up there and don't swing for 2 or 3 pitches.
There's the fastball right down the middle. So he got the 3 balls and he got his fastball. And that's the only pitch.
Even then, it wasn't right down the middle.
Yeah. With a full count and 2 outs, Stanton will be on the move from first. Solano is at third base. 5 runs here in the 4th for Miami. Breaking ball, ground ball to third. Ramirez across the diamond, up the line. He's safe. Then he's out. Lee thought he got the hand back in. Does the run count?
We'll have to see, because
I think it does.
I think the run counts.
The run counts because
yes,
it's not a force out. Once he passed the bag, he tagged him out. So the run counts. Well, at least he gets an RBI out of it. But the official score right now, he had signaled that the run counted, and the scoreboard says 6-2. And right now, yeah, he said 7.
He said the scoreboard doesn't have it.
Now they're going to talk about it. Here's the play again.
I reacted on the home plate umpire, Paul Emmel. Here's the throw. A poor throw by Ramirez. He's already scored. He's already come across the score. Now, if the out is recorded in normal fashion.
The question is this. The fact that it was a tag play, does that take away the force? Let's say, for instance, he's tagged before he gets to the bag. Even watching that replay, if he's tagged before he gets to the bag, the run is across the plate. I don't think the run counts in that case.
If he's tagged before he crosses the bag.
No. Oh, yes. Okay, go ahead.
Then I don't think the run counts. But because he was tagged the way he was, but the umpires are unsure either.
I don't think this run counts.
Ozzie will take it if it does. And he probably won't put up much of an argument.
The amazing thing is here, the Brewers never had to come out and argue.
And I would assume right now so there's no tag. Some nimble footwork by Carlos Lee, by the way, who's had a very active game.
All right, now the scoreboard says 7-2.
So that means that run counted.
That's bizarre. Why would Ozzie come out for an explanation if he got his way, if the run counted?
So the scoreboard could be incorrect, which, wouldn't.
I mean, why would you call Ozzie out to explain it to him if you'd already given him the run?
This is where I've talked to a lot of people about this. We talk about replay and everything else. There's a point in time where the home plate umpire or the crew chief should have a quick way of communicating to people upstairs, the official score, the people in the press box, and let them know what was called. Because here you and I are trying to debate and figure out what happened, and we don't really know yet. We don't know if the scoreboard's correct.
Carlos Lee touches the bag, but now he's off the base.
Now, if that's the case, if he's safe, then comes off the bag and is tagged, then the run would count.
Amen.
So that's the perfect scenario if, in fact, that's what the umpires called. And we hope we haven't confused you too much.
No, but after watching that last replay, that makes more sense.
Because it did look like he got his hand on the corner of the bag and then just couldn't keep it there when the tag was applied.
If he initially was called safe and then out, then all bets are off, and then that run counts.
That makes perfect sense.
Good pitch by Nolasco to Aoki. Breaking ball in the dirt. Let's watch the first base umpire. There's the safe. Well, that was the safe and then he got in, and now there's the out. That one fouled out of play.
Well, the bottom line, if the run has scored.
Now they've changed the scoreboard here in the ballpark. They've gone from 7 back to 6.
That's why Ron Renneke hasn't been out there arguing.
Right. That's the only reason that they would bring Ozzie out, is to tell him, sorry, Ozzie, you don't get the run. So I think Ron Renicky knew all along. The odd thing was he never came out to argue, especially when Paul Emmel turned to the dugout and clearly said it's 7, not 6.
You could hear him.
Yes.
You could hear Paul Emmel.
And he was talking to the Brewers dugout. And no one from the Brewers dugout budged. But then the 3 other umpires converged on home plate, and then you knew at that point that that run probably didn't count.
So I think bottom line, let's get to basics here. We explain why it could have been a run, and then why it initially wasn't.
Here's the 2-2. Ground ball, Lee's at first. And he flips it. I think Nolasco was surprised by the flip, but he got there nonetheless in front of a speedy Aoki.
We can put together a whole package today of Carlos Lee.
Time now for the Just for Men Keep Your Edge Spotlight. Extra base hits, another category that Ryan Braun leads, and look who's right behind him, and look who's fourth. Aramis Ramirez and Corey Hart, they all give the Brewers an edge. You can keep your edge. Just for Men, mustache, and beard. Of course, the final note on that play at first, if it had been called and ruled, bouncer up the middle into center field, that Carlos Lee got to the bag and was safe and then came off the bag and was tagged out, then that run counts.
Yes.
But obviously in watching the first base umpire, Scott Berry, that's not what he called. His initial safe call was when Lee avoided the tag, and then he rung him up when the tag came down. Here's Braun now.
So far, Ricky Nolasco has struck out Ryan Braun twice and has gotten him to chase a lot of pitches out of the strike zone.
Especially down. A 2-seamer in the first at bat, breaking ball in the second at bat. Down the line, diving stop, Murphy. Braun runs well, and he beats it out for a hit. A couple of 2-out hits for the Brewers here. You never know, that last run, that 7th run, who knows if that comes into play late in the ballgame. Toyota trend 24-40 on the road, but have started to play better on the road, going 5-2 in their last 7. Ramos Ramirez, a single, a stolen base. Milwaukee and Miami both have 6 hits. Shallow center. And Gorkys Hernandez makes the catch. Our apologies for the fine microphone and audio at home plate. 6-2 Marlins. Taste of Miami. Get those Cuban sandwiches in the press. Get them out, chop them up, serve them up. Very nice. Livan Hernandez would appreciate.
And what a great segue.
One of those.
Going from that to Livan.
There's Ruggiano now. Ruggiano's first at bat against Livan. And he throws a fastball right down the middle. One pitch misses outside. Livan came on to finish off the fourth. Which ended on that wacky play from Carlos Lee. Little tapper for Ruggiano. He'll hustle. Ramirez makes a terrific play. He may win that Gold Glove this year, Tommy Hutton.
You know, he's one of those guys. I was thinking about this earlier. He's not won one in his career, but he kind of falls into the category of an Adam LaRoche, who plays first base for the Nationals, who's never won a Gold Glove but plays Gold Glove first base. This guy's played Gold Glove third base, and you're right. Maybe this year's the year. Not an easy play. He stays with it. The bare hand, strong throw. It's a real test for a young hitter facing Livan Hernandez.
Brantley goes after that pitch that was outside, and Segura throws him out. So Livan gets a couple of outs, trying to keep this a 6-2 game from the Brewers' perspective. If you're following this game on the MLB at Bat app as well, they had posted that 7th run, and they also gave Milwaukee an error on that play, which allowed the run to score. They've taken away the run and the error.
So each team today has made one error.
Murphy had a big hit in the fourth, and a swing and a miss. Miami broke through with 5 runs in the 4th inning against Mike Fiers.
Rich, we're just here to inform, to explain, and to entertain.
And to confuse ourselves. And a swing and a miss. Murphy strikes out. Livan gets him with a fastball and a 1-2-3 inning for the former Marlin. It's party time, kids. Grab a drink. Look at that. Look at that T-shirt right in the middle there.
Yeah.
The Tommy Hutton Baseball Academy.
Up at Roger Dean.
You teach the kids where to put the sunglasses on the cap the right way, don't you?
And always make sure they have the T-shirt on when camera is focused on them.
Corey Hart pulls one foul. Corey Hart looks well shorn for. I mean, we've seen him almost not quite Jason Worth-like, but close. Got the short haircut.
He can give you that scruffy look every once in a while.
A little bit of a beard going. El Caballo. Now this is routine compared to what he's done today. One out in the 6th inning. 4 for $54 pack. Get you 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, 4 bags of chips for just $54. The next 4 for $54 night is on Tuesday, September 4th. The Marlins and the Brewers at 7:10. Individual and group packs are available online at marlins.com. It will not get you a flotation device, which we've seen a few of already on this holiday out in the Clevelander. And if you're with us on this holiday and you've got a barbecue going on, or maybe you're in the pool at your house and have the TV out.
The outdoor screens pumped up, yeah.
Thanks for joining us. This has been an entertaining game. 6-2, Miami on top. Jonathan Lucroy awaits, and Nolasco delivers. Ricky Nolasco's pitched well. Saved the one flat slider he threw to Carlos Gomez. Gomez hit a 2-run homer. One of those runs was unearned because Jonathan Lucroy had reached on the Donnie Murphy error.
I think the other thing, when you look at Ricky's outing today, he hasn't walked anybody. And you're right, he made the one pitch, a little flat slider.
That breaking ball into left field. Lucroy with a single, and here comes Gomez.
You know, and as we pointed out at the beginning of the game, you're not going to expect Ricky to throw a 5-hit shutout every time he goes out there, but you want to see him put together the consistent outings, and he's followed that up. He's thrown the ball well today.
And this nice run by Ricky came after that long inning in Arizona. Remember, he gave up 5 runs in the first and then shut the Diamondbacks down, allowed the Marlins to come back. That might be 2. Murphy, good feed. Solano, good turn in time. Getting a speedy Carlos Gomez, who fires down his helmet. 5-4-3 on the double play. Nolasco's been outstanding, and Miami has a 6-2 lead. .6-2, Miami on top. Big inning in the bottom of the 4th.
See if you can reset this with clarity.
Well, Carlos Gomez hit a 2-run homer in the 2nd. Marlins got 1 back in the 3rd, and then all kinds of hits broke loose.
6 in a row. Now, to finish that inning, Carlos Gomez not happy and fires his helmet down. You see the first base umpire, Scott Berry.
He wasn't looking.
Which begs the question, if he was looking.
Hey, would he have thrown him out of the game? Probably not.
And that goes back to the Bryce Harper play earlier in this homestand.
Now, we don't condone that either way for Harper or for Gomez. Harper's helmet came closer to the first base umpire. It didn't hit him. And Harper not only was, I'm sure, fined, but he was thrown out of the game. And I'm not sticking up for Bryce Harper. He shouldn't do it. But the fact that Gomez fired his helmet down, same fashion after hitting into a double play, and it just kind of went unnoticed. Not by us.
Velasco with a fly ball to right. He hits it pretty well. Aoki is on the track and makes the catch. Speaking of clarity, let's get some clarity on that call of an inning or two ago. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Right, Rich, clarity's a tough word up here. Even on this play, I did talk to the official scorer and Steve Ripley, who's the umpiring executive here. I spent about a half inning. We kind of are going over the play. Here's the basic thought that he said was that Paul Emmel was thinking originally it was a time play. And on what the umpires call a time play, the run would count in that effect. Now here, he missed him. He never catches the bag. Now see the left foot, the first baseman's left foot, Hart, catches first base by mistake almost on this play. So it's clearly a force out. It's not the tag that gets him out here. Watch this. See that foot right there? Almost by mistake, he got him with the left foot. And so it's a force out, and the run will not count. There is some question, though, even now, about whether it was a tag situation. That might change the scenario. In other words, let's say he did catch first base. He was making a move to second. He comes back, then he's tagged. Well, that clearly would be a time play. But Steve told me he will get on the bottom of this, and we'll have more clarity by tomorrow on this. It's a little confusing, but you could see by mistake that the first baseman did catch the bag, and that immediately makes it a force out. The little bit of iffiness is if it was a tag, does it change the difference, or why would the ump give the run to begin with? Does that make any sense?
No, and even the umpires are confused.
Yeah, you see the left
They've
foot.
just thrown more confusion on it.
Like the question is, under what scenario would the run ever count in this spot? And why would the ump originally give him that?
I think the one scenario we pointed out, I could see where it would count. If Lee came off the bag and then was tagged after he had initially touched the bag.
But if you can run down the first base line. As long as you got the bag, you're okay. If you make that move to second, or that, then you're...
Now, don't confuse me more.
Okay.
There was no move to second.
There was definitely no move to second. So if you hit first base, then you should be okay.
By theory.
In theory.
All right, if Ripley has anything new to report on that, get back to us. Here's the 1-2 from Gorky
We'll check
Hernandez.
with Steve tomorrow night.
Yes.
Steve Ripley, a former Major League umpire.
I like the fact that Major League Baseball has umpiring supervisors, former umpires in the press box.
Yes.
In ballparks, guys you can go to for explanation.
Steve is here all the time, all the Marlins home games, and helps us out a lot.
Livan Hernandez is doing what he does best. He's just simply throwing up what some would term as slop, what he would term as good off-speed stuff.
Even our West Coast crack staff weighing in on the play at first base.
That's as precise an explanation as we've seen.
Yeah, the crack staff on the West Coast saying the tag play at first is irrelevant. If the runner is never safe, then there's no timing play.
And I think, as Craig expressed, there was confusion as to why the home plate umpire, Paul Emmel, thought the timing play was in effect.
And to be quite honest, in all my years, I don't think I've ever heard that term, a timing play on a run coming in to score. I've never heard that used. I think I've seen it, but I've never heard that phrase used.
I've heard it
as an explanation.
I've heard it in that. Here's the 1-2. Strike 3 called.
We'll continue the discussion when we get back. Livan Hernandez.
It's all about timing, Rick.
Yep. That was not good timing. Inning. Now for the Coors Light freeze can. Carlos Lee making it look easy over there. Look at him tiptoe up, get to the bag. You want more, Carlos Lee? Nah. How about a scoop?
Oh, yeah.
El Caballo. Coors Light Freeze Can brought to you by Frostbrew Coors Light. Gene Segura is up, and he leads it off for the Brewers in the 7th as Ricky Nolasco tries to keep on keeping on here against a very good offensive Milwaukee lineup. He does have 8-9-1 coming up. Now, we were talking about the timing play. I've heard it, and it refers to the home plate umpire on a tag play out on the bases, timing whether the run crosses before that out is made, if that out is the third out. If the run crosses before that third out is made on a tag play out on the bases, then the timing is that the run counts. That's where I've heard the term.
Yeah, no, I know that play, and you see that play often, but yeah, just the phrase timing play.
Brandon Kintzler.
So we're going to see a pinch hitter for Livan Hernandez. Travis Ishikawa is going to pinch hit. Ishikawa has been their primary bat off the bench, 10 pinch hits on the year.
Ishikawa, former San Francisco Giant. There's been a scoring change, not to the wacky play at first, but the safety squeeze by Ricky Nolasco, which was originally scored a bunt base hit. Nolasco now has a sacrifice, and there'll be an E1 on the pitcher, Mike Fiers. Tough to give an error to a pitcher who's racing in and tries to make the flip with his glove.
Because you have to ask yourself, if he can't make that play to the plate, how does he make a play to first base?
Counts 2-1. Maybe he's getting an error just for the decision to try to flip it with his glove. because if he just picks the ball up, he's probably going to get Nolasco.
If he approaches it differently.
Right. Maybe he got an error on approach.
which you don't want to have when you're landing.
No. Here's the play on the safety squeeze.
So obviously he comes in. If there's nobody coming from third to home and he picks the ball up just normally, he gets Ricky at first. So I would imagine that is why that decision was made.
So Ricky does get a sacrifice. No at bat, and he gets an RBI. And the error allows Nolasco to reach first. (3-2) coming to Ishikawa. Runner goes. Little pop-up. Reyes racing back.
Reyes made a nice adjustment because he was going over to cover the bag. Had to put the brakes on a little bit and then move back to gather in that pop fly. All right, here he goes. A couple of steps. Now he has to stop, redirect, and puts it away.
Norichika Aoki has bounced to first a couple of times and has singled. Nolasco out in front, 0-1. Carlos Lee out there. No out there.
Wow. And a lot of times you'll see a shortstop transfer the ball, but that wasn't the case. That's a drop. And Jose knows it. So a second out would have been recorded. It wasn't a double play. Reyes is just trying to catch. Get out of the way.
Nice play by Lee. Got inside the base runner. Made an accurate throw. Well, what it does for Nolasco is now you've got the big bats coming up. You've got Weeks, Braun, and Ramirez with runners first and second, and the Brewers itching to get back into this thing. Down by 4. Weeks takes a strike. Daytona Beach, Florida. Played youth baseball with Prince Fielder. Golden Spikes winner at Southern University. And his brother's having a great time right now with that Oakland Athletic team that's lining things up in the American League.
You realize that Oakland, coming into play today, Oakland has the identical record as the New York Yankees. Each team are 76 and 57. Oakland taking on the Angels later tonight.
Weeks out of Lake Brantley High School, both Weeks. Pitch misses in. Ryan Webb in Miami's bullpen. Weeks is one of the guys, when we talked about this matchup, one of the guys that has hurt Nolasco the most. 8 for 17 in his career. Two and 2. You got Ryan Braun on deck. Milwaukee team that's playing better on the road, playing better overall, and important for them to continue to play well on the road because the Brewers have a lot of road games in the month of September. They're on a stretch that have seen them on the road a lot. Weeks swings and misses. And Nolasco gets a big strikeout.
Good job, good pitch. Ricky Weeks is a guy who's been swinging a hot bat. But now Ricky will have to deal with Ryan Braun.
Braun, of course, the home run leader in the National League. 37 home runs, tying his career high. And it's got him climbing the charts as far as the Brewers' career home runs. Singles into left field. That's going to score a run. As Segura comes across. 6-3 now. Braun with an RBI single. Here comes Aramis Ramirez. Time now for the All My Sons Moving and Storage poll question. Melky Cabrera leads the National League batting race. Should he be disqualified due to his performance-enhancing drug suspension? 86% say yes. 14% say no. Final results on the postgame show. On the postgame show, Craig will have a breakdown of every scoring decision, and there have been a lot of nuances in this one.
I just think the interesting thing about it, and we've tried our best to give you all the details, but the interesting thing is that the umpiring supervisor isn't even sure until he checks with the crew down on the field.
Nolasco gets a ground ball and gets out of it. He gives up a run, and Ricky walks off the mound after 7 innings in the books, limiting this powerful Brewers team to just 3 runs on this holiday afternoon here on a Monday in September. And as Nolasco heads into the dugout, we pause for God Bless America.
Land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountain to the prairie, through the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
The next Jiffy Lube Friday Night Live is coming up on the 14th. Marlins take on the Reds at 7:10. After the game, go to the West Plaza for a live concert with Grammy Award-winning salsa star Jerry Rivera, presented by Badia Spices. Lock in your tickets for Friday Night Live, 1-877-MARLINS, or go to marlins.com. 22,391. The attendance here on this holiday afternoon. Brandon Kintzler comes into the ball game. Jose Reyes leads it off. It was a Mike Fiers start, and the Deerfield Beach native pitched fine until the bottom of the fourth. That's when Miami jumped him for 5 runs. Livan Hernandez was the bridge between Fiers and Kintzler, who zips one in at 92 and misses in.
Yeah, Kintzler's seen a little action with the Brewers in 2010, a little bit last year, and just recently added to their roster.
Reyes fouls it back. Reyes has walked, drove in a run with a sacrifice fly, and had a 2-run single. So he's padded his RBI totals, now at 47 on the season.
Good slider from Kintzler there.
Kintzler, one of those guys that pitched in the independent leagues, the St. Paul Saints. Reyes pulls it foul.
That was probably one of the first of any note of the independent leagues, the team in St. Paul.
It was, and when I got out of college, there were no independent league teams. You either got drafted or you stopped playing. And the St. Paul Saints, that Northern League.
Now there are quite a few independent leagues.
Yeah, the Northern League, I think, was the first of the leagues. He also played in Winnipeg. 07, 08 in Winnipeg, 09 in St. Paul. And here he is in the big leagues. It's a nice story. Reyes out to center. Gomez is there. And he squeezes it. Marlins homepage on foxsportsflorida.com. You can go there and vote today on the Cleveland Clinic Florida Community Poll question. If you can name the mascot of the Winnipeg team,
let me call the Hopper.
To see, the Hopper would know. Although I don't know if he goes.
That would be a tough one.
Independent. Yeah. The Gold Eyes. The Winnipeg Gold Eyes. And it's the St. Paul Saints. One pitch. Stanton swings and misses. Now, Giancarlo Stanton's day is 0 for 3. He struck out twice. He did bounce into a fielder's choice. But he's hit a real rough patch.
And he's missing pitches. Even that last breaking ball he missed. That was a pitch on the road trip. He would have hit 450 feet.
We haven't seen him in the last 5 games or so. This spell really drive the ball to right center field. Gets jammed and dumps it into right field, and it's caught. Aoki comes on and makes the catch, and there's 2 outs. And that brings Carlos Lee to the plate. Nationals are doing it again. 2-0 over the Cubs in the bottom of the 8th. Baltimore is winning 3-0 over Toronto.
I think a lot of people were anxious to see how the Orioles would respond after a nice series taking 2 out of 3 from the Yankees.
That one kicks right by Segura into left field. The young shortstop has that one get by him. That's a tough hop. I would go base hit on that.
Rich, you just don't know our scorekeeper here.
Watch the hop. Bang. It goes up.
And it's been ruled an error.
E6. Ruggiano takes outside. Justin Ruggiano has struck out, singled and scored. And then bounced out to Ramirez at third.
I've grown weary of complaining.
Some people tune in just to hear an occasional Tommy Hutton rant. You're right about Baltimore, though. If they can win that game, and it's now 4-0 in the top of the 8th, Baltimore would go to 75-59.
And the Yankees right now deadlocked 3-3 tie against Tampa, against the Rays.
And when play started, Baltimore was 2 behind the Yankees. The Rays were 3.5 behind the Yankees. James Shields still in that ballgame. 1-2 pitch misses outside to Ruggiano.
You were talking about that Nationals game, and the name we brought up the other night, another home run, Adam LaRoche, number 25, and Detweiler, 7 shutout innings so far.
2-2, another little tapper. Let's see if Ruggiano can beat this one. Nope, just got him by a step. Another terrific play by Aramis Ramirez. It's a 6-3 ball game, folks, and it's headed to the 8th inning in Miami. Top. Nice hat. Chevron with a smile presents tomorrow's starting pitchers. Some news: the Marlins have inserted Wade LeBlanc into the rotation. LeBlanc's going to get a start tomorrow. So LeBlanc goes for Miami, and Sean Markham, who has a nice ERA, a 5-4 record, makes his 16th start for the Brewers. That's tomorrow. 6:30 start for Marlins Live, presented by Checkers. This would be Heath Bell, and he takes over. So 7 innings for Ricky Nolasco.
You know, it was a 7 innings, not smooth. Ricky had a 1-2-3 inning in the 4th. Brewers had base runners every inning except that inning, but he worked around it. He made some good pitches. He didn't walk anybody. He didn't hurt himself by walking anybody. So good job by Ricky today with maybe not the same stuff he had against the Nationals.
Bunt by Hart, Bell off the mound, and he makes the play. Lee staying on the bag. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, I'm with Savannah Madison, right?
Yes.
Yes, and she has Savannah soldiers here, and they're collecting letters today. This is part of a program that you started. This is her singing, by the way. She sang the anthem here. Tell me about this wonderful program you started and why you did it.
Well, I started this organization for my best friend's dad, who was deployed to Afghanistan for a year. He's still in Afghanistan. Well, I wrote a song for her. Her name is Wilson.
What's the name of the song?
It's called Wilson, and it's on my website. We just recorded it in Nashville, Tennessee. And I guess the organization kind of bloomed around the song because we decided that we wanted to do a little bit more.
Right. So what'd you do?
We started writing letters, and we send them to the 841st Engineer Battalion in northern Afghanistan with her dad.
And now you have people here that also, anybody can send a letter, is that the idea?
Anybody.
And how do they do that? So they meet where you guys are? They go on a website?
You can go to my website, SavannahMadison.com, Madison spelled with 2 D's, and you can write a letter at one of these events. We set up at the Marlins game every Sunday night home game.
Every Sunday home game?
Yes, and then you can go to my website and email in a letter, and we'll print it out and send it to the soldiers.
That is awesome, and I'm sure the soldiers enjoy it. And your friend's dad, is he got a letter in the past?
He has. The entire battalion has received hundreds of letters.
You're doing a great job, and you can go to our website too, right?
Yes.
Where is the website?
SavannahMadison.com.
That's 2 D's?
It is.
All right, thank you, Savannah.
Thank you so much.
Guys?
Boy, if you could bottle that energy.
Oh, wow.
Really have some.
She has Jose Reyes energy.
Hey, guys.
That's great.
Yeah, her mom's here. I said, do you want to talk? No. Savannah said, I'll do all the talking. And you did a great job.
Thank you so much.
All right, take it away.
See, now, in years past, they'll do contests for kids to come up and do an inning in the booth with the announcers. She would be fabulous.
If Madison came up here,
yeah,
with 2 D's,
we could go get something to eat.
we could go get something to eat.
Jonathan Lucroy is up right now. Heath Bell in relief of Nolasco. The 7 innings, Nolasco 3 runs, just 1 earned. Fly to right. Stanton is there, and he makes the catch. Marlins Live brought to you by Checkers. It's coming up immediately following this game.
Heath Bell came in the other night, pitched a third of an inning, got a strikeout. He came in to bail out Steve Cishek in Cishek's blown save the other night, and has come in here throwing the ball well.
In a 6-3 game.
Which brings up, we talk about it, we've talked about it with so many different players. When you look ahead to 2013, when you see Heath Bell throw the ball well, where does Heath Bell fit into the plans? That's another decision the organization is going to have to make.
Well, there's an excellent chance that he's on the team simply because his contract would be so hard to move. He's got 2 more years and I believe $18 million total on that contract. If he's throwing the ball well and pitching like the 3-time All-Star he once was, then certainly he's competing for that closer role. I don't know that you just hand him the job in spring training.
I agree, and I don't know if you just hand it to Steve Cishek either. So it would make for some good competition in the spring.
Manny Parra in the bullpen. Carlos Gomez had the 2-run homer. That was in the 2nd inning. Nolasco trying to win his 2nd straight. Brantley didn't hold it all the way. It's 2-2. Let's watch this little fox mode. There's the tip, and you can see the dirt pop up. Paul Immel's right on top of it. If you add up the innings for Nolasco, 9 innings in that shutout, 7 innings here, and then the 4 innings in Arizona, there you go, 20 innings, 1 earned run, 2-2. And it just misses.
Now remember, Ricky's ERA had creeped over 5. Well, after today's 7 innings, it's 4.64, so almost 4.5.
Gene Segura's on deck. Bell got the first 2 outs. He's gone 3-2 on Carlos Gomez. Right down the middle. And he struck him out. Nice work by Heath Bell. A 1-2-3-8 for the Brewers. 6-3 Miami. Three runs, 9 hits, 3 errors for the Milwaukee Brewers. 6 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors for the Miami Marlins. Carlos Gomez got the scoring started. Marlins had a big bottom of the 4th. Lots of Ricky Nolasco. He gave up just 1 earned run. Heath Bell helped out with a scoreless inning, and now Manny Parra becomes reliever number 3 for the Brewers, who are hoping to keep things rolling here. And the Brewers came in having won 13 of 17, improving to 65 and 68. 6.5 back in the wild card, but the Marlins right now a 3-run lead. Brantley goes after the first pitch and yanks it foul. And the count's 0-1. Rob Brantley, Donnie Murphy, then the pitcher spot coming up.
Brantley with 1 base hit today. Got a base hit in the ball game yesterday against the lefty from the Mets, Josh Edgin.
News around the East. Davey Johnson announcing today that Steven Strasburg's last game will be September 12th at Citi Field.
So the Marlins will probably see him in his second to last game. last night, Strasburg got a no decision, 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, had 9 strikeouts against the Cardinals.
So he would probably pitch the Friday night in
Yeah,
D.C.
he'll pitch one of the weekend games. And then the next one would be the game at Citi Field.
Brantley, another good swing. That's a fair ball. Into the corner it goes. I'll tell you what, the kid looks good against left-handed pitching.
He sure does.
I mean, you talk about right now it's somewhat of a platoon with Brantley getting the start against righties, John Buck against lefties. But Brantley looks quite composed against the lefties.
Does not look overmatched at all. And the last 2 lefties he's faced, he's had really good swings. So a 1-for-2 game yesterday and a nice 2-for-4 game today. And all the while learning behind the plate. Toughest part for any young catcher, calling a game, learning your pitchers, learning the league, learning the other hitters.
Murphy has walked, RBI single, and has struck out. Fly ball, that's well hit, left field. Braun goes back at the wall. He makes the catch. Tagging is Brantley, and he alertly gets to third. Donnie Murphy did everything but hit it out. And even Ryan Braun is surprised that stayed in the yard.
Ryan Braun right now is saying, I'm up close with Bernie Brewer if that one's hit in Milwaukee.
You can catch all the action of the 2012 Major League Baseball postseason on Fox and TBS. The excitement begins October 5th with the wild card games on TBS. Rick Kranitz is out. Well, we told you Davey Johnson had an announcement. Steven Strasburg's last start. Freddie Gonzalez, the Braves manager, announcing that he has informed Dan Uggla that he's removing him from his role as the team's everyday second baseman.
I noticed today, and we've seen Prado start a few games at second base. Prado was in that position today.
That allows the Braves to put guys that are swinging the bat well, like Reed Johnson and Jose Constanza, into a left field platoon. Gonzalez saying it's not a doghouse situation. It's a situation where you feel you have to do something for the team.
Well, we know Dan Uggla. I'm sure he doesn't like it, but I'm sure he respects the decision.
Austin Kearns swings and misses. Yeah, going back to June 6th, Uggla hitting 152 with a 276 slugging percentage in those 73 games.
Yeah, on the year hitting just 208. 17 home runs. The amazing thing, he leads the league in walks. He's walked 80 times.
Two and one to Austin Kearns. He fields in. Marlins looking for an insurance run. Brantley at third base.
So the run will end for Dan Uggla. 5 consecutive years of 30 or more home runs.
Bouncer in the dirt, and it may have hit the home plate umpire, Paul Emmel. Or Lucroy got enough of a piece of it to keep it from rolling back.
I guess the other interesting note, the final note on the Dan Uggla story, the situation. Boy, that ball bounced way in front of the plate.
Oh, it got through the arm, right under the arm.
Yeah, Lucroy wasn't sure where it was right away. Dan Uggla signed through 2015.
He's in the second year of a 5-year, $62 million contract.
Whew. Wow. Parra all over the place, and a struggle and a battle for Jonathan Lucroy, the catcher.
And look at that on Fox Tracks. Catchers aren't supposed to be able to reach up there.
Look at number 5 was the ball that bounced in the dirt, and number 6 was almost completely out of the zone.
I guess maybe that's how they figure range factor out for catchers. Now Gorkys Hernandez. Brian Peterson is pinch running at first base. Aramis is up with a fastball, and Lucroy's had enough of this. He's going out to talk to his left-hander. There's Petey.
The situation, if you maybe had a little more speed at third, you'd think about trying to sneak in a run here and send Brian Peterson.
There's the bunt. That first and third bunt is going to trickle foul.
Boy, good chance. And a good try by Gorkys Hernandez. That ball just trickled foul once it hit the dirt. And a good decision by Corey Hart, the first baseman. If it stays on the grass, it stays fair.
The Marlins, again, in this ball game, have successfully used that first and third bunt with Nolasco. You've got Hart holding Peterson. Brantley, ironically, was the runner at third on that Nolasco bunt. So he's been through this drill before.
Yeah, if you notice, too, after every pitch, even after the throw to first base, Joe Espada goes over, talks to Brantley.
Parra goes over. Peterson gets back. One out. Hernandez waits. He squares. Ooh, he takes a strike. And now it's 1-2. And the likelihood he's bunting is greatly diminished.
Sometimes when you square that way and move, have a little movement toward the line, up the line, you lose sight of the strike zone. And it's tough to pick up pitches.
Up the middle, diving stop, Segura, dropped by Weeks. Everybody is safe.
Now that better be a base hit.
Fielder's choice, E4, and an RBI.
Yeah, it is an E4.
Yeah, I think.
Unfortunately for Gorkys, there's nobody going to throw him out at first base.
That's right. The only way they're going to get it out is at second, and Weeks flat out dropped it.
But a great job by Gorkys Hernandez to make contact. The importance of making contact there. Got the run in.
Good speed out there. Peterson at second, Hernandez at first. And here's Solano. Marlins get that insurance run across, 7-3. The E4 on Ricky Weeks. By the way, we've had a few crack staffers alert us that Weeks' younger brother has been sent down by Oakland, now in AAA.
When Milwaukee has tied their season high with 4 errors today.
They've been odd errors, too.
I think the problem with Weeks there, he was trying to do something that wasn't there. He was thinking double play, and there was no way they were going to double up Gorkys Hernandez.
Solano foul tips it into the glove of Lucroy. Parra gets a strikeout. Here comes Reyes with 2 runners on and 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. Reyes pops it up. Hart comes down and makes the catch. Miami gets a run, leaves 2 to the 9th, 7-3. The 9th, and Mike Dunn's coming out to pitch. Since we don't have a save situation yet, we figure we go great catch. Dunkin' Donuts save of the game. Gorkys Hernandez staying calm with Ruggiano cutting in front. Made a very nice play, and so it's done. Keith Bell handled the 8th flawlessly. He went 1-2-3 through the Brewers, and now Dunn comes on, and if the Marlins bullpen can shut the door, Ricky Nolasco will pick up win number 11.
I think we saw Steve Cishek loosening up, had it to stay at a safe situation, but always nice to get that insurance, and with that insurance it'll bring in Mike Dunn. He'll face the youngster, Gene Segura, first off.
Did he go? He did. Scott Berry said swing. Segura 2 for 3. Jeff Bianchi is on deck for Milwaukee. Then it's top of the order, Nori Aoki. Phillies came back and beat the Reds 4-2. The Braves beat the Rockies 6-1. Baltimore did shut out Toronto 4-0.
So the Phillies now just 5 games under 500.
Joe Saunders for the Orioles gets the win. Saunders just acquired from the Diamondbacks 6 1/3, 3 hits, no runs. And the Nationals beat the Cubs 2-1. Those are the games that are complete in the American and the National League. A lot of them are headed into the ninth, just like this one.
Boy, Saunders had that game against the Marlins. He gave up 12 hits and 9 runs in just over 3 innings, which I think was his last start as a Diamondback.
Struck him out. Segura knew it. He was already walking to the dugout. Dunn gets the first out of the ninth. Here's Bianchi now. Bianchi out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He was a waiver claim this offseason from the Cubs. And a position player that had Tommy John surgery back in 2010.
Hit over 300 this year in AAA Nashville. Good job by Dunn, firing in quality strikes.
Got him outside corner. Dunn strikes him out. So 2 hitters, 2 strikeouts. And now Nori Aoki comes up. Milwaukee's last chance here in the 9th inning. Dunn misses up with a breaking ball. Marlins trying to brighten up this homestand, which has not gone well. 1-4 coming into this ball game. One and one. Got an email and Twitter Tuesday tomorrow night with LeBlanc. Sean Markham, 6:30 for Marlins Live. Liner to left. Ruggiano was in. That's well over his head. It's going to roll to the wall. Aoki has his 2nd hit of the ball game. That's one of those where Ruggiano will, after the game, go back and check the scouting report. Look at Zambrano getting on it.
Well, you know what was funny? Just prior to that, the scouting report had him coming in.
Yeah.
Because Gary Thurman was down at the end of the dugout, which he does often, helping the outfielders, and he was moving Ruggiano in. Ruggiano came into that point, and all of a sudden, Aoki crossed him up. Crossed everybody up.
That's why I said when he gets into the club, I was going to say, wait a minute, are you sure?
Say, hey, Thurm, let's go over that thing a little bit.
Now Weeks, and Dunn misses in. It's a 4-run Miami lead. Ball and a strike. Brewers came in here red hot in terms of bats. Team that is leading the National League in home runs. They've hit 168 of them. Cincinnati second. The Reds hitting 158. Jay Bruce homered for the Reds today in that 4-2 loss to the Phillies.
What's Jay Bruce at? 30?
Yes.
That was his 30th.
One-two pitch. That's in. And it's 2-2. Jimmy Rollins hit a 3-run homer in that one. John Mayberry homered again. His 14th.
He's been on a nice little run for Charlie Manuel.
Here, Mike Dunn is trying to finish off the Milwaukee Brewers. 22,000 here on this holiday Monday, finishing off the holiday weekend. This just opens a 4-game series. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night, and then a Thursday matinee before the Marlins are back on the road. Marlins have the infield shift on for weeks with Solano almost directly behind second base.
Sometimes you have to be careful of going over too far, given the fact that Dunn's throwing as hard as he is.
Brewers would like to get the big bats up one last time. Dunn wants to end it right here. 3-2 coming. Tell you what, for the Marlins, win number 60 has been very elusive. This was a Mike Fiers start and a homecoming for him. Marlins got to him for 5 runs in the 4th. 3-2 again. It's outside. He walked him, and here comes Braun. Cishek is up, and Ozzie Guillen has seen enough. So Guillen is going to go to Steve Cishek.
Remember, this all started with Dunn striking out the first 2 hitters he faced.
Remember, I said at the outset of the inning, it's not a safe situation yet, but it is now as Cishek comes in from the bullpen.
7-3 Miami. All different ages, sizes. Steve Cishek comes in. The tying run is on deck, thus a save situation.
And I think an opportunity for Cishek, who struggled the other night in his chance to pick up save number 12. It was a rough outing for him, his worst of the year. Gave up 4 hits and 4 runs in his 2/3 of an inning and had to be bailed out by Heath Bell.
Now Cishek will try to do the bailing, and he misses outside to Braun. Ryan Braun didn't start the day well. He struck out twice, but he has 2 hits since, including an RBI single. High chopper. Solano has it, fires to first, in time, ball game, just like that. 2 pitch save for Cishek. Nice heads up by Donovan Solano. And Miami opens this 4-game series against the Brewers with a win. The Fish snap a 4-game losing streak. We'll wrap it up when we return.